Dr. Phil, America's doctor, joined the Chicago immigration raid. And in case you're trying to give some crazy amount of credit to some crazy leeway to Dr. Phil and going, maybe he joined to make sure the immigrants were going to be okay. Maybe he joined as a compassionate human being who was like, oh, your family's getting ripped apart and you're getting shipped back to a country you don't know anything about. Maybe that's why he joined the immigration raid. Nope. Dr. Phil is an egregious, awful human being who has been spending apparently a lot of his shows or TV show, whatever. I don't know what channel he's on or what he does now, but he has some kind of show. Spending a lot of his time hating on immigrants. This is a rich Texan who hates the poorest among us, wants to stop them from daring to try and survive our own onslaught, the U.S. government's own onslaught on their other countries. So Dr. Phil joined the immigration raid to get the immigrants to, I haven't seen the video, but I'm assuming he's standing there talking about, let's get them. Hey, those dirty immigrants. Totally repulsive human being. TV personality Dr. Phil joined the U.S. border czar Tom Homan in a choreographed immigration raid in Chicago, one of several conducted in U.S. cities over the weekend, in what Homan claimed was only the beginning stages of Trump's promised threat to deport millions of people from the country. Awesome. These are good people. They came for the immigrants and I didn't speak up because I wasn't an immigrant. They came for the unionists and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a union member. They came for the comedians and I didn't speak up because I wasn't a comedian. And then they came for me. You've heard that one. I think I might have butchered it slightly, but you've heard that one. And then they came for me and there was no one to speak up. Left. In case, despite the fact that Biden deported more than Trump did last time, despite the fact that Obama was known as reporter-in-chief, despite all that, in case you're thinking, well, look, this is worse than anything Obama did, than anything Biden did, this is worse. Well, Tom Homan, first appointed by President Barack Obama as Immigration and Customs Enforcement's Executive Associate Director of Enforcement and Removal Operations in 2013. That's right. Tom Homan, Trump's new border czar, was Obama's ICE Executive Associate Director. And was Obama horrified by the shit Homan did and how racist he was and how anti-immigrant he was? Was Obama just beside himself? Why did I appoint this maniac, this sociopath to that position? Is that what Obama said? In 2015, President Obama gave him a Presidential Rank Award as a distinguished executive. The Washington Post article at the time stated, Thomas Homan deports people and he's really good at it. Obama gave him one of the top government awards for being a racist sociopath. And now Trump was like, I like the cut of his jib. So as you're witnessing these horrific raids, just going after the poorest, the people among us who are working and, like, statistically speaking, breaking far fewer laws than anyone else because they don't want to get deported, so they're very careful not to break laws. If you're horrified by these raids, how they're destroying families, how they're destroying lives, how they're destroying cities, how racist it is, how the fact that these people came here because the U.S. destroyed their original country that they were in before that, if you're horrified by all that, Obama appointee. Just remember that. So is this having an impact? Trump's crazy raids, which, he's more forthright with them, right? Biden wants to not talk about all the immigration deportation because he wants to look like he cares about immigrants. That's one of the things Democrats do mostly. Harris ultimately decided to go far right and say she was going to deport, an endless number of immigrants or whatever. She tried to play both sides, but for the most part, Democrats try to pretend to care. They don't. So this is more in your face. As I've been saying, Trump is more in your face. And are these deportations, these raids, having an impact? Well, Central Valley farm workers are scared to show up to work over deportation fear. And this is apparently, there's other articles saying that this could collapse like a large percentage of our farming industry in the United States. Apparently, it depends on which state you're talking about, but in California, probably Texas, probably a few other places, New Mexico. But California is one of the bread baskets of America. They grow a lot of our crops in California. 50% of the farm workers don't have papers. If all of them stop showing up because these farms want to, or maybe their entire economic model rests on them paying tiny amounts to these workers, they're not paying taxes on them, etc. Our system right now is set up to work with a large amount of undocumented people, and apparently they're all not showing up to work. And you're going to start seeing it. Who does that hurt other than these people who fear for their lives? Who else does it hurt? Your average consumer. The people who are going to suddenly start paying 5 times as much for an avocado because the farmers aren't showing up. The people who were barely making ends meet to begin with, and now they can't afford a sandwich. That's who this is going to hurt most, outside of the people who might be getting deported. This is an article saying nearly half of farm workers lack legal status. But if you're wondering whether this is hard work, why can't they just hire a bunch of Americans that have the legal papers to do this work? Apparently, this work is brutal. There was a program where they were trying to replace all the immigrants doing the farm work, I believe under Reagan, and they were like, well, we need hard workers, we need young men, so what we'll do is we'll make this program where young high school males will be doing this farm work on their sport, like athletes on their off season time. And so they tried to do it, and the kids were so many of them lasted like a day. And despite the fact that they were basically kidnapped, they were made an offer they couldn't refuse, not monetarily. It was like, you have to go here. They lasted like a very few, and many of them didn't have cars, so they were like hitchhiking to get the fuck out of town. And anyway, it's hilarious because it was like, we'll get our youngest, strongest men. And they were all like, I ain't doing this shit. Their hands are all sliced up. It's brutal work. And we're now trying to deport 50% of all our farm workers. Good. It's good. Maybe it'll teach the Americans something.